So this video is for Bridget Dumont's Walk the Walls.
Welcome to my classroom. We're starting at the door, and when the students open the door, they see a Welcome to Mrs. Dumont's class sign that was created by our civil rights team. And I have lots of students in my classroom that are part of the civil rights team, and I just want everyone to feel welcome. So this is a student designed and colored poster to welcome students to my classroom, and we have our sign in, sign out, right where kids sign in, sign out, and go in and go out with a clock for them to use. And right next to the door are my classroom expectations. I call them my non-negotiables, and they're the things I constantly refer to and that the students abide by in my class. I have our team rules, and my general rules are be safe, be respectful, be kind, and take risks. These are the things I found myself repeating constantly, and so these give us some talking points and some visuals that make the kids laugh, and they align with what we discuss as far as our school pride expectations. So moving over above the whiteboard is a word wall related to the tools we use in tech class. So some of them are physical objects like our robots, cublets, ollies, Sphero. Some of them are computer programs we use. Some of them are paradigms, imagination, creativity, problem solving, or mental tools. But the kids refer to these when they're going to stations to explore these tools, or when they're reflecting on their experiences with these tools. They can look at them to spell or to just clarify. So sometimes I say Sphero and they're like, what? And so when to see the word really sort of clarifies to them what the tool is. At the bottom of the whiteboard are some examples of student work that's sort of an ongoing project. The kids are creating circuits using a tool called Makey Makey. So it's valuable to have, I do sort of a rotating display here where kids put up their successful samples so that other kids can go up and touch them and take a look and see how they put them together to be successful.
I saw these in action, and the tinfoil creates the circuit so that these make noise when connected to a computer program, right, which is really cool.
So really the essence of that project is the computer program where kids design the sounds, but they're also creating a circuit. It's pretty fun. So in the corner of my wall is one example of a design process poster that we refer to. So everything we do in tech class fits into a design process. So the kids either start with a vision or a problem, and they develop a concept, and then we go through this design build stage where things work and things don't work, and we problem solve, and they develop and work on growth mindset, and we talk a lot about persistence until they have a product that they can share, or with our class, or on the internet, on a sort of a blog opportunity, or with the class, with the school. So some examples of that are next to the poster. I use the Tandberg as a monitor to highlight student work. So on display right now, and this is also on my website, are examples of 6th grade keychain designs. So they use the design process to solve a problem. The problem was everyone has a Chromebook case that's exactly the same. So the idea is they put these personalized keychains on their Chromebooks and can identify them. So their smiles show how proud they are of their work. Next to the Tandberg are 2 small whiteboards that I use for helpful shortcuts. This is also a changeable display depending on what we're working on and what is useful to the students on their Chromebooks, and also learning targets separate for 6th and 7th grade, and those change daily or weekly depending on what we're working on. Next to the whiteboards and under the window is a poster that shows our background knowledge about 3D printing. So this would be the what do you already know, part of like a KWL, and the students all took sticky notes and wrote down something that they already knew about 3D printing, and then they shared that with the class, and then we sorted and sort of grouped our ideas and what we know into these categories to sort of get a visual about what we already know about 3D printing, and then we add to that conversation as we go along.
Is this one class's worth of work, or is this a culmination of?
This is a culmination of everyone. So I did this class. It was sort of cumulative. So with the first class, they would have started sort of the preliminary grouping, and then we added to and sorted and grouped as we went along. some of my 6th grade classes are small, so to have this effect, it needed to be everybody.
Cool.
So this is just a shelf of tools. So I feel like it's important to label everything in my classroom. It's easy to find, and it just helps kids, again, clarify what words look like and sound like and where to find things. And they use these also in their writing to refer to tools that they use in their projects. This is my 3D printing word wall. So the 6th grade focuses on these lower words, and we used the Frere model to build understanding with those words. The kids worked in groups and they jigsawed their understanding, so each kid would focus on a word and then they would teach the other kids about what the word meant. And then we used Kahoot and other tools to review and practice. And the kids used the vocabulary again in their writing and in their discussion and in their reflection about the 3D print process. The 7th graders expand up to some of those other words, and they used a different model. And you can see over here, there are QR codes, and these link to the 7th grade vocabulary activities. They worked with a partner to develop a Padlet that showed examples and definitions and videos related to their vocabulary words. And then they shared out with the class the things that they had learned, and now everyone has access to the Padlets that teach vocabulary, and they had a lot of fun doing that, and they have a lot of fun bringing the iPads over and using the QR codes to see each other's work. Over here is another iteration of the design process. This I use specifically to teach the logo design or graphic design process. So the 6th graders start with this list of steps, and these are the steps we use in our logo design process. So the word is listed and defined, and then the 7th graders review this, but then move into this more of the design cycle view of it. And they had some different steps. They worked with staff to brief and gather information about what the staff would want, and then they did research. They developed their ideas and then moved into delivery. So we talk about how design has multiple applications, whether it's visual or you're actually coming up with a tool, or you have a broken shoelace, and how do you solve the problem? So the design process moves from the poster into sort of a big vocabulary student work display wall. So those same steps are mapped out in that I have examples of brainstorm, what a brainstorm looks like, inspiration, looking at other people's ideas and taking what's useful, creating thumbnails, sketches, and we talk a lot about how ideas evolve over those sketches, and then move into a composite, which is moving towards a final product in color and neatly done. So those are some student exemplars. And then the digital render. So here I have all of the 6th grade digital renders. Everyone got their digital render on the wall, and they really enjoy seeing and talking about them. And it gives us some good conversation about what successful design is and where there can be improvements made. And they're really constructive and positive about that. So next to those digital renders of the student personal logos are some current projects. The kids work with these small Ozobots that follow paths and use codes, color codes, to be programmed. So the kids are working on a project it's called Ozobot Takes a Vacation, and so they think of a destination, and then like this one shows the Ozobot would turn. They use codes like speed up or slow down when there are elements of the features at the park or destination that they'd like to show off by the Ozobot. So this helps the kids who are working directly behind these posters to see, what does this mean and what do I need to do here? So we're building a collection here. And these are previous examples just to remind the kids of what they did with the Ozobots in the first round of tech stations. So yeah, reminder visual student work. On the closet, we have SMART goals from my team room students. These were developed at the beginning of the year, and we continue to visit goals and remake goals and revisit these goals and talk about what goals mean during our Squire time and our scheduling time together. So next to between the cupboards is my 3D design space. So it's another iteration of the design process. This is the one we use specifically to talk about 3D design, because the students start with a problem and then brainstorm solutions, work on design, and then we work a lot in this build, redesign, test, evaluate phase. Sometimes things work, sometimes things don't work. The kids can come over here and interact with the 3D printers. They can pick up their projects. They can see things that worked and things that didn't work. I always have the computers open so kids can see what's printing and who's printed. They're really interested in that. So it's an interactive space for them. Next to the 3D printers, there's another closet, and it has our expectations about Squire time. Both expectations that our team talked about and designed, so there's consistency there, and also expectations for the entire school that Melinda shared with the staff, so that across the school we're developing consistency, and the kids are respectful about abiding by those. And then I have schedules, daily time schedules and weekly time schedules, so that everyone has a place to look for a quick reminder. And then in my desk area, I have just a poster that shows an example of design and color, and it's just a talking point for design. And then a poster of keyboard Chromebook, keyboard shortcuts, and that's where I get some of my rotating shortcuts that go on the whiteboard over on the other side of the room. So that is my classroom. Welcome and thank you.